वेदांता ही आ रहा है. Okay. Hello everyone, I welcome you all to the World History module at the Vedanta IS Academy. I am Pulkit Agarwal, the History faculty at the Vedanta. So as you all know, we were doing a very important topic known as the French Revolution, right? We were doing a very important topic known as the French Revolution. So yes, in the yesterday's class, we completed the French Revolution, and today we are going to start a very important topic again, which is known as the rise and fall of Napoleon and the Congress of Vienna. So we are going to start rise and fall of Napoleon and Congress of Vienna and Congress of Vienna 1815. So this will be done by me in today's class, right? So in this particular topic we will see that how exactly Napoleon rises in 1799 and how exactly his fall occurs in 1813. So that is the most important idea which we need to understand when we are talking about the rise and fall of Napoleon, right? So Napoleon was one of the most important character in the world history, right? He was someone that had a very major impact on the world history in a very small amount of time. In a very short span of time, Napoleon actually had a very intense impact on the world events, right? So basically that is why Napoleon becomes a very important figure to study when we are talking about the world history, right? So iske andar what we are going to study is his rise, right? How exactly he rose, and then what we are going to do is his rise, his policies, his reforms, and finally his decline. Right? So that is the things we are going to see, and finally we are also going to see the impact of Napoleon, right? So what exactly the impact did Napoleon had on the events in France particularly, and that of the world in the general sense, right? So this is what we are going to study: his rise, his policies, his reforms, his decline, and then the impact of Napoleon. So these are the important things which we need to understand when we are talking about such an important figure known as Napoleon Bonaparte, right? Okay. Before I start anything about Napoleon, let me give you an overview about Napoleon in a story-like format. I'll tell you everything about Napoleon in a story-like format कि Napoleon कैसे rise कर रहा है, Napoleon ने क्या क्या activities करी है यूरोप में आने के बाद, Napoleon exactly किन वजहों की वजह से he started to decline or his power started to decline, and what are the kinds of reforms he did. So I'll tell you this as an overview, and then I'll write something on the board and the notes will be provided to you people, right? So this is what we need to understand, right? Now listen, जो Napoleon है ना, Napoleon Bonaparte, that was his name. So some people call him Napoleon Bonaparte, some people call him Napoleon Bonaparte. So both of these pronunciations are correct, right? So Napoleon, for me, he will always remain Napoleon. So Napoleon was actually born in 1769. The year is not important, I'm just telling you this. He was actually born in the year 1769 in the island known as Corsica. There was an island in France known as Corsica. So Corsica was actually the same island जो एक movie आई थी अभी रणबीर कपूर की, तमाशा. So Ranbir Kapoor and Deepika went to the same island known as Corsica, and Corsica is famous for being the homeland of your Napoleon Bonaparte, right? So Napoleon was actually born in Corsica, but the point is, from the starting, his height was not very huge. He was small in stature, and also at the same time, his physical abilities were also not very strong, and at the same time, he did not belong to a very high family. He was from a very moderately rich family, not from a very high family. तो इसकी वजह से होता क्या था, he always used to kind of suffer an inferiority complex in his childhood, right? So that is what happened to Napoleon in his early life. लेकिन धीरे धीरे क्या है, धीरे धीरे Napoleon started to take the military training, and Napoleon started to rise in the military ranks, right? Napoleon started to rise in the military ranks. उसके जो military capabilities थे, they began to rise very phenomenally, right? They began to rise very extraordinarily, right? तो उसके साथ ये सब चीजें exactly होने लग गई. And if you people remember that 1795 until 1799 was the period of directory in France, right? So it was being ruled by 5 directors, right? So that is something which we need to understand when we are talking about the French society. So it was being ruled by the 5 directors. So he was very close to one of the directors, right? He was very close, right? So that director was named as Bara, but we don't concern ourselves with the name right now. But the name of that particular director was Bara. So Napoleon was actually very close to that particular director, and he used this particular connection to increase his stature, to increase his status in the French society, right? उसने अपने connections को use करके he started to rise in the French political circles. साथ में जो उसके military capabilities थे, his military efficiency, that also proved to be one of the greatest asset for Napoleon to rise in the ranks of the French political circles, right? अब हुआ क्या? The turning point in his career actually came during 1795-1796, right? So that was a time which proved to be the turning point in the career of Napoleon. कैसे? During the time of 1795, the building where the 5 directors of the French society, the building where the 5 directors of the French society used to sit, that was being attacked by the counter revolutionaries. That was being attacked by the people who wanted to bring back the monarchy, right? That wanted to bring back the king system, absolutist monarchy, they wanted to get back, right? So that building was attacked by those particular counter revolutionaries, right? So this particular person, Napoleon, what he did is, he saw those particular people coming from a distance, because he was assigned the job of protecting that building, right? So अब हुआ क्या? He saw the people coming from the opposite direction towards the building to attack it. तो अब हुआ क्या? He arranged all his forces in a kind of a line, ठीक है? And then came the most famous words of Napoleon, that is fire, right? So as soon as Napoleon ordered fire, right, so the bullets started to come out of the guns of the people guarding the building of the directory, and then it helped in dispersing the counter revolutionaries. It helped in averting the attack on the building of the directory. Later on, when Napoleon was actually asked कि एग्जैक्टली आपने करा क्या, कहता इट वॉज वेरी इजी, आई एक्चुअली शॉट दीज पीपल विद ग्रेप्स, राइट. सो कुछ लोगों को ये भी लगा कि नेपोलियन ने अपने गन्स के अंदर, अपने कैनन्स के अंदर ग्रेप्स डाले थे और ग्रेप्स से एग्जैक्टली उसने उन लोगों को मार दिया. बट द point he was trying to suggest was that it was very very easy for me, right? It was not difficult for me at all to counter those particular rebellious people, right? So from 1795 he started to gain even more popularity amongst the people of France, right? लोगों को लगा हाँ ये कोई है who can actually save us, right? And also during this particular time, as I told you, France was under constant attack from the European coalition, right? France was under constant attack from the European coalition. So अब क्या है? Now Napoleon was given the task of basically he was given the task of capturing Italy. He was given the task of attacking Italy in 1797, right? So he was made in charge of the Italian expedition, right? So he was made in charge of the Italian expedition, and this Italian expedition proved very very successful for Napoleon, right? He was able to capture Italy by this particular campaign. So this is something which we need to understand, that Napoleon, because of his military capabilities and because of his attitude, was able to make place for himself in the French political system, right? So this is a very very important idea, right? So in 1797 he was able to capture Italy, and that increased his prestige in the French society, right? Finally in 1799, that is the last year of Directory, in 1798 till 99, he was then sent for Egyptian campaign. He was sent for Egyptian campaign, right? उसको बोला गया now you go and capture Egypt. Why? Because Egypt was a very very important transit point for the British trading activities. Right now the France wanted to capture that particular trading transit point and become powerful, right? So that is why he was sent to Egypt. तो Egypt में क्या हुआ? Initially he was able to kind of win the battles with the local king, but as soon as the British forces started to come in Egypt, they started to come into Egypt, he actually started to lose, right? His army, his navy was not able to stand in front of the English forces, right? उसी time पे around 1799 he got the news that the French country will be again attacked by the European coalition, that the kind of like the European people, they are kind of coalition with each other against the France that is again going to attack it, right? जब उसे ये news मिली that the European countries are planning to attack France again, so he came back to France, right? He actually got the pretext, he got the bahana to come back to France, right? उसको ये भी बताने का मौका मिल गया कि मैं फ्रांस को बचाने के लिए आया हूँ, और जो वहाँ पर वो हार रहे थे उससे भी उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कहीं ना कहीं हट गई, राइट? बिकॉज उसको ये था कि मैं बचाने आ गया, इसलिए मैं वहाँ पर एग्जैक्टली पूरी अपनी अटेंशन नहीं दे पाया. बट देन when he got the news that the France is going to be attacked again, he came running back to France, right? So when he came running back to France, so what happened next is he was then able to tell people that look, that Directory is good for nothing, right? Directory cannot save you from any sort of attack, right? I am the person who is going to save you from the attack of any European coalition, right? So that is how exactly in 1799 he was able to upstage the rule of directory, and from 1799 what we have is the rule of Napoleon. Rule of Napoleon, right? So the rule of Napoleon started from 1799, but it was not until 1802 that he declared himself as the outright ruler, right? He declared himself as the outright ruler. It was not before 1802 that he declared himself as the outright ruler. So from 1799 until 1802, he actually took up a position known as the council. Therefore, from 1799 until 1802, it was known as the government of consulate in France, right? Government of consulate in France for a period of 3 years, right? इस consulate में क्या था? There were 3 councils. There were 3 people who were appointed for the governance of France, but except for Napoleon, the 2 other councils were only councils in name. They were only rulers in name, because Napoleon now had the maximum amount of power. Napoleon now had the maximum amount of power in his hand, right? He never gave that particular power to any one of these consulates, right? He had the maximum amount of power in his hands. I just got mistaken. It's 1799 till 1804, right? Okay. So for the period of almost 5 years, he had the maximum amount of powers in his hand, right? And now the question arises that if he was able to upstage the directory, why exactly he did not proclaim himself as the emperor at that particular point of time only, right? What actually stopped him to proclaim himself as the emperor? ऐसा क्या हुआ that the Napoleon was not able to actually proclaim himself as the emperor outrightly? वो चाहता तो आराम से कर सकता था, but he did not do that particular thing at the starting of his rule. उसने लोगों को बताया कि that look, I am still ruling according to the ideas of the revolution. I am kind of trying to govern you according to the ideas which were proclaimed during the time of the French upheaval, right? अगर वो starting से ही from 1799 onwards, if he would have started to proclaim himself as the emperor of France, तो सबसे बड़ी problem ये आती, there might have happened another revolution. The people might have started to go against him, because what they did in French Revolution was to kind of remove the king from the absolute authority, right? What they were actually doing was they did not want the king to be the absolute authority in the society. They wanted the rule of the public, they wanted the rule of the people. अगर नेपोलियन भी वही सेम हरकतें उसी टाइम पे कर देता, the people might have rebelled against him, right? People might have gone against him. So that is why उसने क्या करा? He actually maintained a garb. He actually kind of put on a kind of clothes from outside, जिससे वो लोगों को दिखा रहा था that look, I am still following the ideas of revolution. I am going to rule you according to the things we decided during the time of the French Revolution. That is why he only declared himself as the emperor in 1804, because until that particular point of time, he had already won the confidence of the people, right? He had done some important things for the people of the French society that they started to now kind of believe in him. So this actually gave him an opportunity to declare himself outrightly as an emperor in the year 1804, right? So in 1804 he declared himself as the emperor of France, right? So this is something which we need to understand when we are talking about the rise of Napoleon in the French society, right? Okay, now let's see that how exactly, or what exactly were the factors that led to the rise of Napoleon, right? Factors that led to the rise of Napoleon without much hurdle, right? He was able to upstage Directory without much hurdle. इसके पीछे के reasons क्या थे, वो ऐसा exactly क्यों कर पाया? That is something which we need to understand, right? Okay. First reason is revolt brought many hardships for the common people, right? As you all know, as we were discussing yesterday also, the revolution, it changed everything at the political level, but at the ground level, the things were very, very unstable. The things were bordering on the idea of anarchy, right? So the inflation was increasing, the currency was devaluated. So hardships in the sense that inflation increased, goods for daily consumption became short in supply, right? So these were some of the hardships which were being faced by the public of France, right? जब तक आप, एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट ये होता है, आप रेवोल्यूशन जब तक करते जब तक आपके प्लेट में खाना है, राइट? जब आपकी प्लेट में खाना नहीं है, so you cannot even think of doing any sort of revolution, because food, shelter and security, these are some of the basic factors. जब ये पूरे हो जाते हैं, then only you are able to do some form of revolution, but before that no revolution can actually happen in the society. अब लोगों के पास ये सब नहीं है, वो कह रहे हैं कि फ्रेंच रेवोल्यूशन का हम करेंगे क्या? जो आइडियाज ऑफ लिबर्टी, इक्वालिटी, फ्रेटर्निटी है, हम उसका एग्जैक्टली करेंगे क्या जब हमारे पास प्लेट में ब्रेड ही नहीं है, राइट? सो दिस एक्चुअली लेड टू द राइज ऑफ नेपोलियन इन अ वेरी वेरी इजी मैनर. साथ साथ में इंस्टेबिलिटी बिकॉज ऑफ leftist politics from 1792 to 1795, right? If you remember the reign of terror, that everybody was now executed at the slightest doubt कि ये इंसान फ्रांस के अगेंस्ट में जा सकता है, राइट? सो उसको एग्जैक्टली उठा के बस एग्जीक्यूट कर डालते थे. तो दैट इज वाई द पीपल वर बिकमिंग वेरी वेरी फ्रस्ट्रेटेड, प्लस इन एफिशिएंसी ऑफ द रूल ऑफ डायरेक्टरी, राइट? Inefficiency of the rule of directory. Directory was also not able to provide anything to the people of France. जब तक आप लोगों को उनको properly सही से चीज़ें प्रोवाइड नहीं कर पाओगे तो देयर इज नो point in proclaiming lofty ideas like liberty, lofty ideas like fraternity, कि हम आपको विचार व्यक्त करने की पूरी फ्रीडम देंगे. We are going to actually give you freedom to practice your own religion. We are going to freedom to write anything you want. But the point is, first of all, what the people want is security in their minds. कि if we are going out of our homes, then we should return safely to our homes. Our family should remain safe and secure. We have proper food supply. We don't have to actually fight with each other for a very, very essential commodity such as the food, right? So that is why people were now becoming frustrated. They were frustrated because of the endless political agitations. They were frustrated because of the endless elections. If you remember, 1790 where Constitution Assembly was formed, 1792 to 1795 National Convention or Committee of Public Reforms, and then 1795 till 1799 Directory. वो लोग कह रहे हैं यार काम कुछ हो नहीं रहा है, ये इलेक्शंस पे इलेक्शंस, इस पावर जो है पॉलिटिकल पावर है दैट इज चेंजिंग बट नॉट आवर कंडीशंस, राइट? So they wanted stability in their life, they wanted proper things, they wanted an order in their life. That is why the rise of Napoleon was now becoming very, very easy, right? It was not that difficult for him to actually upstage the rule of the Directory. Also his military victories, made him acceptable to the public of France, right? Made him acceptable to the public of France, right? So if you remember that when we were doing the idea of nationalism, I told you one thing, that there's a scholar known as Benedict Anderson. So Benedict Anderson said that when we first see the idea of nationalism rising, what we need to understand is that for nationalism to rise, we always need an enemy, we always need military campaigns. जितने ज़्यादा successful military campaigns होंगे, the idea of nationalism will grow. And Napoleon, we will see that he was the torch bearer of the ideas of nationalism in Europe, right? So his military victories, his victories over Italy, his victory over Austria, his signing of peace treaty with England, his victory over Russia, so all these things were actually attracting people towards Napoleon, right? So his military victories were also a very, very major ideas which led to the rise of Napoleon in the French society, right? So that is something which we need to understand, right? So these are some of the factors which led to the rise of Napoleon very, very easily, right? Now let's move forward. Now let's move forward, right? Now let's try and understand Napoleon in a kind of a timeline. So from 1799 until 1804, he was the Council of France, right? And I told you there were two other people, but they did not matter at all. Most powerful, right? He was the most powerful. So this is what we need to understand when we are trying to see that how exactly Napoleon rose in the French political ranks, right? Okay, तो ये एक सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग बात है. तो अब क्या है, 1799 से लेकर 1804 तक he ruled as the consulate for France, right? He ruled as a person who was trying to actually follow the ideas of revolution, right? So this is what we need to understand. और इसी के बीच में what happens is during this period he is able to garner political victories over Italy, Austria, etc. राइट? जैसे जैसे उसकी मिलिट्री विक्ट्रीज इंक्रीज होती रहती हैं, उसकी लोगों के बीच में जो मास अपील है दैट इज गोइंग टू इंक्रीज. सो 1802 he signs a peace agreement with enemy European powers, right? Especially England, right? Now England was the only formidable power which was left in Europe that could challenge the power of Napoleon, that could actually challenge the brute force of Napoleon, right? So England was the only political power that was left in Europe. So in 1802 Napoleon was actually able to make peace with England also, but we will see that this peace agreement was short-lived, right? This peace agreement was very, very short-lived, right? He will again start to increase his military campaigns. He will start to attack the European nations again, right? So this is how exactly we need to see Napoleon as someone who cannot live without the military activities, who cannot live without the military action. उसने peace declare करा, but उस टाइम पे थोड़े टाइम बाद उसका दिमाग लगने लगा, यार मुझे मिलिट्री कैंपेन्स करने, वो सब चीज़ें वो एग्जैक्टली करने लग गया. और एक पॉइंट ऐसा आने वाला है इन हिज करियर, स्पेसिफिकली फ्रॉम 1808, what is going to happen is that he is going to exhaust himself. He is going to actually become physically ill, right? And from 1808 his decline will start as the emperor of France, right? His power will start to get even more depleted. So this is what we need to understand. Although he was a very great military ruler, लेकिन सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम उसके साथ क्या थी? He just wanted the continuous action, right? He wanted इसके बाद ये. What he never did was to sit peacefully and enjoy the fruits of his military campaigns. What he wanted exactly was more and more military action at every point of time. So that is something which we need to understand, right? So in 1802 he signs a peace agreement with that of England, right? And finally in 1804 he declares himself as the emperor. He declares himself as the emperor. So that is what we need to understand, right? तो अब तक इसके मिलिट्री विक्ट्री की वजह से the people also started believing in, the people were also behind him. They said कि ये इंसान जो नेपोलियन है, he is actually increasing the glory of France. He is someone who is bringing prestige to France, right? So his rule became a kind of legitimized in the eyes of the common people, and that is something which we need to understand, right? तो ये एक चीज़ है जो कि हमें यहाँ पे समझनी पड़ेगी. और साथ साथ में लोगों ने इसमें बिलीव और भी क्यों करने लग गए? Why all the sections of the society started to believe him? Because he promised everyone something, right? कि अगर if I become the emperor, I will give each one of you something to actually enjoy, right? I will give you something which is going to benefit you. Like for example, he gave the people who were supporting the monarchy, who were supporting to bring back the monarchy, उन लोगों को ये लगा कि एग्जैक्टली यही एक ऐसा इंसान है जो कि फ्रांस के सारे जो मैटर्स हैं, राइट, फ्रेंच सोसाइटी के अंदर जो सारी इंस्टेबिलिटी है वो उसको पूरी तरीके से हैंडल कर सकता है. सो फॉर द पीपल हु वांटेड टू ब्रिंग बैक द मोनार्की, ही वाज सीन एज अ सिंबल हु कुड हैंडल the instability in the society, right? So this is how exactly he started to be legitimized in the eyes of those particular people. In the eyes of middle class, what he did is he started to do various kinds of reforms, about which we are going to study after we finish this political history. The reforms were done in various spheres, like the administrative, like the judicial, like the economic, like the educational, right? All these places started to see reforms which were being done by Napoleon. तो लोगों को लगा कि हाँ यही वो इंसान है जो सोसाइटी के अंदर एक स्टेबल गवर्नमेंट प्रोवाइड कर सकता है, साथ साथ में he is going to put France on the path of progress. That is what the people wanted, that the France should progress. जब उन्हें लगा कि नेपोलियन ये सब एग्जैक्टली उनको प्रोवाइड कर रहा है, सो व्हाई नॉट एग्जैक्टली रैली देयर सपोर्ट बिहाइंड दिस पर्टिकुलर एम्परर. सो द मिडिल क्लास ऑल्सो स्टार्टेड टू सपोर्ट हिम, राइट? एंड देन वी टॉक अबाउट द पेजेंट्स. द पेजेंट्स ऑल्सो स्टार्टेड टू सपोर्ट हिम. व्हाई? because he promised them that I am going to give you rights over land. I am going to give you lands which are going to be yours. You are going to be the owners of that particular land. So this is how exactly he was able to win the support of the masses in the French society. So this is something which we need to understand when we are talking about the Napoleon's military campaigns and the Napoleon's rise to the power. So that is a very, very interesting idea which we need to understand, right? Okay, now let's move forward, right? Okay, now let's see कि उसने 1804 के बाद exactly ऐसा क्या क्या करा that he became very, very famous, right? Okay, अब क्या है, although he had defeated Austria, but he had not completely destroyed its power. So Austria को कहीं ना कहीं एक मौका मिल गया that it started to rise its head again. It started to gain prominence again. So what happens is in 1806, a European coalition of mainly Austria plus Prussia, right? Prussia is a country which can be synonymous, which is exactly synonymous with the present day Germany, right? So it is synonymous with the present day Germany. So when the unification of Germany happened in 1871, that happened under the aegis of your Prussian kingdom. It came under the rule of the Prussian king, right? So that is something which we need to understand, right? Okay, तो धीरे धीरे उसने क्या करा, by 1806 he defeated the European coalition of mainly Austria, Prussia and other powers, right? So इससे क्या हुआ, he started to gain even more prominence in the French society. That is one point. लेकिन साथ साथ में क्या है, as soon as his army went on to fight these particular monarchies or went on to fight these particular countries, तो जो आर्मी के सोल्जर्स थे, राइट, उन्होंने धीरे धीरे जो आइडियाज है ऑफ नेशनलिज्म है, आइडियाज ऑफ लिबर्टी हैं, आइडियाज ऑफ इक्वालिटी हैं, विच वर द मेजर बेस of the French Revolution, उन सब आइडियाज को भी धीरे धीरे इन सोसाइटीज में स्प्रेड करना स्टार्ट कर दिया. सो देयरफॉर वी कैन एक्चुअली से दैट थ्रू हिज मिलिट्री campaigns, through his military campaigns, he became the torch bearer of the ideas of nationalism. He became the torch bearer of the ideas of nationalism along with ideals of French Revolution, along with ideals of French Revolution. So that is something which we need to understand when we are talking about the Napoleon being the torch bearer of nationalism. इसमें एक और एग्जाम्पल हम एक और तरीके से कैसे देख सकते हैं. This is just an example. So what happens is Germany at this particular point of time, during the time of Napoleon, it was divided into 300 princely states, right? It was divided into 300 princely states. So what Napoleon did is he went to Germany, right? He proclaimed himself as a supreme leader. And integrated those 300 small princely states into 39 states, right? From 300 they got reduced to 39 states. So this is how exactly, when we study about the unification of Germany, we will see that Napoleon played a very, very important role in the integration of Germany as a nation from a mere geographical expression, right? So this is how exactly the contribution of Napoleon can be seen. So this is a very, very interesting idea which we need to understand when we are talking about the Napoleon's military campaigns in Europe. So what we see is by 1806 Napoleon was able to become the supreme leader of most of the Europe. He was able to capture Russia, he was able to capture Prussia, he was able to capture Austria, Italy. So the Belgium, all these places were already captured by him. So he actually became the supreme leader of the Europe. लेकिन अभी भी एक बीच में बहुत बड़ा ऑब्स्टेकल था for him to become the supreme leader of the entire Europe, right? वो obstacle था England, right? That proved to be the biggest obstacle for Napoleon to become the supreme leader of France, right? So that was a very, very big problem for him. तो अब हुआ क्या? अब जो इंग्लैंड था, इंग्लैंड by 1806, the position of England by 1806 was very, very prosperous, right? It was gaining prominence due to its trade networks with the colonies. It was gaining prominence because of its very, very strong army. Britain at this point of time had such a strong army that nobody, just remember my point, that nobody was actually able to match the strength of of England, right? ये बात नेपोलियन को भी पता थी. ये बात Napoleon also knew that on land I will be able to defeat England because I have such a strong force. But he knew that in waters, when there will be naval fight, I will not be able to defeat the English navy at all because his naval power was no match for the English naval power. तो उसको लगा यार कुछ ना कुछ तो मुझे ऐसा करना चाहिए by which I will be able to decrease the power of England and then I will go and capture that particular place, right? That will also come under my rule. तो नेपोलियन ने क्या सोचा कि एक काम करता हूं, इंस्टेड ऑफ डायरेक्ट वॉरफेयर ऑन इंग्लैंड, व्हाट आई शुड डू इज आई शुड स्टार्ट a trade warfare with England, right? I should actually start a trade warfare with England. So from 1806, and going up till 1810 and going up till 1810, Napoleon started a system of trade war. Napoleon started a system of trade war known as continental system, right? So that was the basic thing which was started by Napoleon at this particular point of time, right? That was being done by Napoleon at this particular point. Ab exactly what is this continental system, right? What is this continental system? That is something which we need to understand. By 1806, except for England, most countries of Europe were directly or indirectly under the control of your Napoleon, right? They were under the control of Napoleon, right? तो अब क्या हुआ, Napoleon ने एक स्टेप लिया. Napoleon actually took a step that no British ship would be allowed to touch any port of the country which belongs to France, any port of any country which belong to France and its allies, right? Napoleon ने basically ये declare करा that no country, like including France, right? No country including France will be allowed to actually trade with England, right? No product of England and no ship of England should come and trade with France and its allies, right? तो इस कॉन्टिनेंटल सिस्टम का सबसे बड़ा पॉइंट ये था, no English ship will be allowed to touch or trade with either France or its allies, right? With either France or its allies, right? तो ये उसने बोला कि जो कंट्री मेरे अंडर में है और फ्रांस, they will not be allowed to trade with Britain, right? तो ये उसने बात exactly बोल दी, ठीक है. Initially Britishers had to suffer too much क्योंकि उसका पूरा यूरोपियन ट्रेड कहीं ना कहीं खत्म हो रहा था, लेकिन it was a very temporary phase for Britain because Britain had such a strong colonial network that it was able to survive on that particular network. So instead of doing harm to England, this system proved the ultimate nail in the coffin for the Napoleonic era. कैसे, अब हम देखते हैं. अब नेपोलियन ने यहां पर कह दिया कि कोई इंग्लिश शिप एग्जैक्टली या इंग्लिश गुड्स, इंग्लिश शिप प्लस goods, they will not be allowed to enter any country which was under France and also in France, right? कोई भी इस पे अलाउ नहीं होगा, ठीक है. अब सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट यहां पर ये है, इफ नेपोलियन is not allowing anyone else to trade with England, तो और उसके प्रोडक्ट्स भी अंदर में नहीं आने दे रहा उनके कंट्री में, सो इट वाज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ नेपोलियन टू प्रोवाइड द बेसिक कमोडिटीज, टू प्रोवाइड द बेसिक एसेंशियल गुड्स टू दोज पर्टिकुलर कंट्रीज, राइट? इट वाज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ नेपोलियन. नेपोलियन कह रहा है मैंने बंद तो सब कर दिया, लेकिन भैया तेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है टू प्रोवाइड द एसेंशियल गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज टू दीज पर्टिकुलर पीपल. बट the major point of conflict came when Napoleon was not able to provide after a point to these particular people, right? He was not able to provide after 1 year to these particular people even the essential commodities. Why? Because France only started to get industrialized after 1799 when Napoleon came into power. Before that, French was exactly an agricultural society. It was not able to kind of produce goods, right, at the industrial level, at the mass level, right? It was only from 1799 and it is just 1806. So properly up तक industrialization has not even reached France. So France was not able to get the goods for the countries which were under him, right? So इससे सबसे बड़ी problem क्या हुई? The people under him, they started to feel very very frustrated. They started to rebel against Napoleon. क्योंकि मैंने क्या बोला, जब तक आपके प्लेट पे खाना रहेगा you will remain silent. जैसे ही वो खाना आपकी प्लेट पे से छीन लेंगे then you will start to rebel. Then you will adopt the policy कि चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, what we want is food on our plates. So the people, when they saw that Napoleon was not able to provide them with anything, so they resorted to smuggling, they resorted to secret trade with England. वहीं England exactly इन लोगों को पूरा का पूरा चीज़ें इसलिए स्मगल कर पा रहा था because in England the industrial revolution had already started in 1760s, right? So England was actually at the peak of its industrial revolution. There was mass production of goods in England, and also in England what was happening is its colonial networks were so strong that it was able to arrange the things from outside also, right? So that is why continental system was a very very big problem for Napoleon, right? एक तो ये point था that Napoleon was not able to provide even the basic commodities to the people. साथ साथ में उसका जो blockade था, that was more on paper, right? He was not able to implement that blockade properly because people started to smuggle things, as I told you. Why? Because he did not have such a strong army, such a strong navy, so he was not able to prevent the blockade in a very very efficient manner. Whereas England was able to provide the basic necessities to the people because it had a very wide connection of colonies, and also at the same time its navy was very very strong, right? तो ये सब चीज़ें हैं. लेकिन अभी आपके दिमाग में एक क्वेश्चन आ रहा होगा कि ये सारी जो कंट्रीज है, चाहे इंग्लैंड हो गया, जो बाकी तो फ्रांस हो गया, बाकी सारी छोटे छोटे कंट्रीज हो गए, इन सब के अपने कॉलोनीज भी तो थे. ये एग्जैक्टली वहाँ से भी तो अपने प्रोडक्ट्स मंगा सकते थे, लेकिन ये वहाँ से भी नहीं मंगा रहे हैं. ऐसा क्यों? सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये हुआ कि जब कॉन्टिनेंटल शिप्स जब नेपोलियन ने कहा कि कोई भी इंग्लिश शिप या गुड्स दे विल नॉट कम टू फ्रांस एंड इट्स एलाइज, ठीक है, तो इंग्लैंड कहता है हम कैसे पीछे रहेंगे. सो इंग्लैंड सेड वी आर गोइंग टू ब्लॉक ऑल द ट्रेड रूट्स लीडिंग टू यूरोप, राइट? बेसिकली ये यूरोप का ट्रेड रूट है, ठीक है. दिस इज यूरोप, these are all the Africa, this is your Asia and all these things, ठीक है. तो यूरोप का जो पूरा का पूरा ट्रेड रूट है, this was now blockade. This is the continental Europe, ठीक है. This is the continental Europe, this is the Europe sea route, ठीक है. तो यहाँ से exactly जो सारे products हैं they are going to enter यूरोप, ठीक है. तो इंग्लैंड ने उठा के क्या करा, it blockade all the ships from entering into यूरोप. उन्होंने बोला कि अब से तुम लोग यूरोप के अंदर एंटर ही नहीं कर पाओगे, राइट? अगर फ्रांस अपने कॉलोनी अफ्रीका में से किसी कॉलोनी में से अगर रॉ मटेरियल मंगाना भी चाहेगा, सो दैट रॉ मटेरियल इज नॉट गोइंग टू रीच यूरोप. व्हाई? बिकॉज ब्रिटेन हैज एक्चुअली prohibited the entry of those ships to Europe. अब आप लोग ये कहोगे that why Napoleon was not able to counter it. The only reason that Napoleon was not able to counter it was because Napoleon did not have a very strong navy, right? Napoleon was not able to actually counter the naval force of England. So in the end, what happened is that Napoleon, his continental system, instead of proving beneficial to him, it actually proved as a nail in the coffin for him. It actually proved as a point which started his decline in the European politics, right? So this is something which we need to understand when we are talking about the continental system of Napoleon. Napoleon ने यहाँ पे एक सबसे बड़ी बेवकूफ़ी ये करी जब उसे पता है that he will not be able to counter the English naval force. तो उसने exactly पूरा system लेके क्यों आया, और उसको ये पता है that he will not be able to fulfill the demands of the countries under him, तब भी वो पूरा सिस्टम लेके आया. The only thing operating at this particular point was the ego, was the personal ambition of the emperor known as Napoleon. That is something which we need to understand when we are talking about the rise of Napoleon and his subsequent decline. So continental system was one of the factors which led to the decline of Napoleon, right? तो 1806 से सिस्टम स्टार्ट हुआ था, 1810 तक दिस सिस्टम वाज इन प्लेस. तो इसी कॉन्टिनेंटल सिस्टम के अंदर में नेपोलियन की और ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स इसलिए भी क्रिएट हो गए. जो कंट्रीज थी, जो नेपोलियन के अंडर में कंट्रीज थी, उन्होंने एक पॉइंट के बाद आके मना कर दिया कि भैया वी आर नॉट केपेबल ऑफ सस्टेनिंग ourselves anymore and we are not going to follow this particular system, right? अब नेपोलियन को आ गया गुस्सा, right? नेपोलियन कह रहा है भाई तू ऐसे कैसे कर सकता है, you will not be allowed to defy my authority, right? So when he told people not to defy his authority, लेकिन फिर भी कुछ लोग नहीं मान रहे. Specifically the example comes is Russia. So Russia said that I will not be able to kind of do this particular thing anymore because I have to feed my people. I have to provide them the basic commodities. Either you provide me those basic commodities, otherwise I am not going to be the part of this circus known as a continental system. So अब हुआ क्या? So when Russia refused to follow the orders of Napoleon, so Napoleon got angry. नेपोलियन ने कहा अच्छा तो मेरी बात नहीं मानेगा, आई एम गोइंग टू टीच यू दैट हु इज द बॉस ओवर हियर, दैट हु इज द बॉस ओवर हियर, आई एम गोइंग टू टीच यू. तो उसने क्या करा, ही डिक्लेयर्ड एन ओपन वॉर विद रशिया. ही सेड आई एम गोइंग टू अटैक यू. सबने उसे मना भी करा, प्लीज डू नॉट अटैक रशिया. रशिया इज सच अ लार्ज कंट्री दैट यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू काइंड ऑफ कैप्चर इट. तो लेकिन नेपोलियन who wanted to fulfill his personal ego, he did not listen to the people. So what happened is he attacked Russia. Russia को भी ये पता था अगर नेपोलियन की आर्मी और रशियन आर्मी साथ साथ में आएंगे, so they will not be able to stand in front of Napoleon's army. तो रशिया के किंग ने what he started to do is he started to follow a kind of very smart policy. He started to move backwards. जैसे जैसे नेपोलियन की आर्मी रशिया के अंदर एंटर कर रही थी, as it was entering the heartland of Russia, so the emperor of Russia he started to move back. लेकिन that was not so simple. Before he moved back from that particular position, उसने एक काम करना और स्टार्ट करा. What he started to do is he started to burn down the fields. He started to burn down the agricultural fields, the buildings, the any kind of resources which might have helped Napoleon, right? So he started to burn down all these things कि भाई मुझे नहीं मिला तो तुझे भी नहीं मिलेगा, right? So that was the attitude which was adopted by Russia at that particular point of time, right? And finally Napoleon's Russian campaign was a failure. So Napoleon's campaign in Russia again proved to be another step towards decline. So that is something which we need to understand when we are talking about the decline of Napoleon, right? So the continental system, so we will now see that the decline, it was by the continental system, it was by the Russian campaign, right? 1807, approximately it started from 1811, lasted until 1812, right? And then the Spanish campaign, or the Spanish ulcer, 1808 until 1813, 1808 until 1813. So this was again a very, very important point which proved to be a step towards the decline of Napoleon again. अब हुआ क्या? Now Napoleon wanted to increase his influence in Spain. तो उसने क्या करा वहाँ पर जाके नेपोलियन ने वहाँ के एब्सोल्यूट रूलर को हटा के फेंक दिया, राइट? सो पीपल एक्चुअली बिकेम हैप्पी कि यहाँ के एब्सोल्यूट मोनार्क को आके नेपोलियन ने फेंक दिया. लेकिन इंस्टेड ऑफ काइंड ऑफ इंस्टॉलिंग some form of republican government in Spain, what he did is he made his cousin the next emperor of Spain. ठीक है, उसने इंस्टेड ऑफ रिपब्लिकन गवर्नमेंट मेड हिज कजन द एम्परर ऑफ स्पेन. तो वहां के लोग कह रहे हैं भाई ये क्या है, दिस इज लाइक कान ऐसे ना पकड़ के ऐसे पकड़ लिया है. व्हाट इज नेपोलियन डूइंग? ही इज नॉट डूइंग एनीथिंग गुड फॉर अस. सो द पब्लिक सपोर्ट, द पब्लिक सेंटिमेंट्स, they started to get turned against the Napoleonic expedition. People now started to turn against Napoleon, right? अब लोगों को वहाँ के पता था कि that if we engage in direct warfare with Napoleon, then we are not going to win. So what they did is they started to practice the form of guerrilla warfare. They started to engage in the guerrilla warfare. और इस guerrilla warfare में who helped them? It was England, because England wanted to take revenge on Napoleon, so it started to help the Spanish guerrillas, right? So guerrilla warfare will become very, very effective in countering the forces of the Napoleonic army, and finally Napoleon will be defeated by 1813 in Spain also, right? He will be defeated by Spain also in 1813, and slowly and steadily the Spanish defeat in Spain, that proved to be a kind of image shattering experience for Napoleon. And Napoleon की जो पूरी की पूरी image है, that actually got shattered, and now the people of Europe, they started to believe that we can defeat Napoleon. So in the year 1813, what happened is countries of Europe, a European coalition, right, which actually formed the major countries like the Prussia, like Austria, like England, like Russia, they again formed a coalition. They defeated Napoleon, and then Napoleon in 1813 was exiled to an island of Elba, from where he was able to escape. In 1813 he was able to escape, right? But again उसको तो अंदर से था ना, क्यूरियोसिटी थी, मुझे लड़ाई करनी है. But again in 1814 he announced an attack on the European powers, and finally in 1814-1815 he was defeated at the Battle of Waterloo, at the Battle of Waterloo, by major European powers like Austria, Russia, England, etc. Right? So they defeated him at the Battle of Waterloo in 1814, 1815. He was then exiled to an island called St. Helena. He died there in 1821. So in 1821 he died at the island of St. Helena. So this is something which we need to understand when we are talking about the rise and fall of Napoleon. So I'll put a full stop to today's class here, and in tomorrow's class we will see that what happened once Napoleon was defeated in the Congress of Vienna, and then we are also going to focus on another important thing, which are the reforms of Napoleon की society में उसने क्या क्या reforms करे, and then we are going to start a new topic, that is the industrial revolution in Europe. So that will be the basic idea, and if you people have some doubts or anything, you can actually contact me at my email ID, which is pulkitagarwal @pulkitagarwal34@gmail.com, right? So I will be very very happy to answer your questions. I'll take your leave and see you people in the next class. Thank you. तो व्यू सही है, कल 110 थे, तो इसका मतलब है कि आज अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 100 से 101 नंबर के आसपास।